Hi,
Hi.
everybody.
Hey, we are back. We're super excited to be with you today. So you'll notice that there's no Dom today. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do without Dom? So
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know. So I'm Ruth. Hi, and you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kyle Webster, joining Ruth. Excited to be here, and thank you for having us. And I can't wait to teach you all some fun stuff.
Yeah, so we're really excited today, to be honest, because we are looking at the brand spanking new Adobe Express today, which is the new one. We've been waiting for this launch for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah, this is great. This is a big one. I'm sure everybody's been on pins and needles, right, Ruth?
Yeah, for sure. More for how we're going to very quickly be able to teach it differently. So the main thing for everybody to know is that because there's differences between the two Adobe Express versions. So if you are on Chromebooks or using the browser, you guys are going to stay with Kyle and I. And you'll notice down, thank you very much, Kyle, that's great. There's a little banner going down. So if you are an iPad only classroom, if you're joining with the app, you're going to have to go over to Dom's Twitter account, which is, yep, just down below, exactly. And he is streaming a different one specifically for the iPad because the app has not been updated and there's too many differences between them to try and do it. Dom also suggests that if you are a mixed classroom, so if you have some pupils on Chromebooks or on the browser and some on the iPads, the best thing to do would just be to pair up and pair your students up and use the browser version and stick in here. So that's most of the admin kind of done. So it's more, if you're wondering, you're like, when are they going to get to the iPad stuff? We are not today. That's going to be Dom is doing it all. So you'll need to do that. But anyway, did you have a good summer, Kyle?
I did indeed, but I have to tell you, I was very busy. I moved countries. I moved from the United States to Germany, so I wouldn't exactly say it was a relaxing summer, and it wasn't exactly a vacation. It was more like trying to get my way through learning how to live in a
Right.
completely different country. So exciting, but not relaxing. How about you?
Had you been to Germany before, or is this?
Yeah, I came here a lot when I was in college and also when I was a little kid. I lived in Singapore when I was a kid, and we'd stop over in Europe on the way back to the United States to visit family. And we'd be in Frankfurt a couple times and Hamburg. And I was in Berlin teaching Photoshop for 2 weeks back in 2015. But that's the last time I was here. So it's all very interesting. And so far, so good. I love it. Germans have a lot of common sense stuff going on here.
Well, yeah, I think I've been to Berlin and I've been to Frankfurt before as well, but like just we whistle stop, like not very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, your summer sounds way more exciting than mine. Mine was mostly work, housework,
Oh,
and like I mostly just watched movies. That's what I did. I love movies, so
that's great. I'm a huge cinephile. I love movies. I love movies. Yeah, I hope you saw the Barbie movie.
I did. I love the Barbie movie. We almost did that. Was it Barbenheimer, like with the
Yes.
Barbie Oppenheimer? But with the Oppenheimer was fully booked, so we had to go the next weekend. But anyway, everybody's probably wondering why we're talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. We're just super excited to be with you all today. So, before we get started, there are a few things that Dom wanted me to tell everybody, and I have it on my little list because I forget every single time. So, the first thing is that at any point, just so you know, because this is the new version, we might be going a wee bit fast at times, and you might be like, oh, how did they do that? Just so you know, you can actually pause this video and you can wait until your students are ready to go and then you can resume it. We don't know that you're doing it. We'll just continue talking away. It's fine and nothing will happen. You'll just watch the video. It'll just be a wee bit longer if you pause it. And also the good thing is that Kyle's going to show a wee bit in what he's doing, and then I'm going to show the exact same thing again. So we're basically going to show you twice every single thing. So if you're stuck, that'll kind of help out. And if you are stuck, you can put a wee comment in, and we'll hopefully answer any questions that you have. So that's the first thing. Number one. Let me see if I remember this. Number two is swag. So it's what's it like? Dom always goes swag, and I'm like, oh no. So swag, which is stuff you all get. So if Dom will contact you afterwards, and if you get back to him, you'll be able to get some special Adobe swag for being digital leaders. And if you share what you've learned today, oh, I just got a bit of feedback there. If you share what you've learned today, you'll be able to get some VIP swag, which is like super special. I don't really know what it is, but yes, so it's very exciting. So again, look out in your emails for that and you'll be able to contact it. And that's pretty much us. We're ready to
swag. How do I get? I don't get
I
any
know,
swag.
I've been doing this for ages and I've got no swag. Maybe it's because I don't email Dom. I don't actually do it. But yeah, so we're going to get stuck in to the new Adobe Express, and we'll maybe find out what we're doing today. Should we do that first?
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all this screen here where we have today's wonderful design exercise. Now, if you've not yet found this, although I hope all of you have, of course, we have a link here at the bottom. This is where you can access this page and you can get what you need. Most importantly, which, considering that we're looking at all of this on our laptops, this is not going to be the most useful thing here, this little QR code. But if I just scroll down to the second page, this is where we have the meat and potatoes. We've got today some prompts for our graphic design exercise. And we will get to those in a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw them first. We're going to have 4 things we're going to be thinking about answering when we get to the design portion of this demonstration today. This year, I'm looking forward to, fill in the blank. My favorite thing I did this summer was, fill in the blank. I'm glad to be back at school because, and my favorite food is. Which of these things is not like the other? That last one, don't worry about it. It's always fun to just know what people's favorite foods are. So that's what we're going to be doing. All right, now if everyone's clear on that, I'm going to pop over to the brand new Adobe Express right here. All right. So if you look at the homepage for Adobe Express now, it looks similar to what it once was. We still have options over here on the left. Some things have moved around, but as we go through this today, you'll be able to find them along with us. And just so you know, some of this is even new to Ruth and to myself. This is a brand new design experience. If throughout the course of the presentation today, one of us says, oh, wait, where is that again? Don't worry about it. We're all figuring this out together. But today what we're going to do is make a animated video, including audio. So we're going to be doing some video editing. We're going to create a background for the video and even have an animated character in it. Now, this might sound like a lot to take on in just an hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is we have together, but actually it's really, really simple. So the first thing you're going to want to do is if you look over here, the plus sign, okay, I have some quick actions right here. So first you start with create. Second option is quick actions. And one of these quick actions as I scroll down is this one right here, animate from audio. Now, as soon as I open up this option, you're going to notice that we have all of these characters. Look at this. Each and every one of these characters can be placed into your video and will animate based on whatever it is that you record with your voice. Sounds too good to be true, but it's really simple and it works great. So we're going to come back around to this portion. Okay, but the first thing we're going to want to do is instead of using the backgrounds that are provided for us, you'll notice here that they have a whole bunch of backgrounds. All right, we have our characters, we have our backgrounds. We're actually going to use our own background. Okay, so we're going to create a design for the background in Express. And you'll notice here it says I can upload an image. Well, the first thing I want to do is create that background. And the size that I'm going to be using is 1080 pixels by 1920, okay? But I'm going to do it in a horizontal format, okay? So let's go back here to our background. We're going to pause for a moment. If everybody's clear on where we are, I'm going to now pop back over to Express and create the graphic. And then I'm going to go back and we're going to use it for our video. All righty. So let's get out of here for a moment. And we'll pop back here and we're going to go for a new video project. Okay. You can do that over here under video, new, and it's going to be giving you the option to post commonly used sizes. Okay. Most of these are what you see for social media, such as YouTube and Instagram, mobile video, etc. Okay. You also will notice that you have your animate from audio option here too. So if you're not using it from quick actions on the home page, you can pop over to your video quick actions specifically right here, and you'll find it right there. But to create my graphic, all I have to do is create a new custom size document. And here under width, you'll remember I said 1920, okay, 1920 by 1080, 1080. That's 1920 by 1080 pixels. And we say create new project. And now we launch into what we're familiar with, which is our project screen. Now, the difference with the new Express, I'm sure you'll notice right out of the gate, is everything is here on the left, and you won't see any tool options or features over on the right. Okay, so this is the one thing you got to get used to, is your stuff is all going to be over here on the left. So of course I can still search for any image I want and any other kind of asset for my design. Okay, but when I'm ready to edit those assets and work with my layout, instead of looking over here, you'll see that everything will show up on the left. Ruth, are we all good?
Yeah, it's great. I'm fascinated. I'm just sitting watching.
All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to search for mine, because we're going back to school. I wanted to search for a classroom and see what kind of photographs show up. See what we have here. All right, so it's loading all these options. You have this, it's got a blackboard. Now this is probably what more people are familiar with, which is a little whiteboard or a smart board of some kind. But you'll notice this says videos. Now here I also have background graphics. So I'd like to look at my backgrounds, because I'm already also using an animated element in my design, and it looks kind of cartoony. And here I might just put in something like blackboard and see what we get. And here we have some interesting options. I'd say this one kind of suits what I want. This one kind of suits what I want. But because I'm going to be adding a character, I don't want to have two characters in there. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a design asset right here. There's a blackboard there. I like that. I think that's pretty simple. I might want to use that. So if I just tap on it, it shows up right here on my canvas. And remember, these are really big graphics. In Express, even though something shows up and it looks really small, a lot of these are scalable, which means I can enlarge them to large sizes by dragging from the handles on the corners. So I can make this quite a big size, like so. There we go. And I'm going to place this over to the right, because I'm thinking what I'm going to do is have my character standing and talking over here on the left, and answering the 4 prompts that we had up front at the top. And then I'm going to have them spell out over here on the blackboard. I'm even going to add some pictures. What do you think about that, Ruth? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. It sounds like it looks like you're going to be doing a little presentation, pretty much.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Right.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that should work. Now, for the background, remember that you have all kinds of things you can do. You can use photography. You can use different patterns. You can use shapes, just as before. If I want to use specific shapes, things have moved a little bit. So that now you go into elements right here. You'll see that we have your stuff, templates, etc. And then you look up here, you have backgrounds, you have shapes. And what I'm going to do here is just do triangle, like so. And I can bring in a shape. And I know that doesn't look too exciting, but remember that you can now edit your shapes. And this is what I was talking about earlier, Ruth, is all of our options now for editing whatever we have on our canvas has now popped over here to the left. So I want to change the color here.
What are you thinking? What color?
Yeah, what's that?
What color are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking like I'm just going to do something kind of like a green. I really don't know yet. I just want to play around, and I want to take these shapes and I'm going to rotate this. Okay. So I have an angle, and this is just a little design tip for everybody, but diagonals in your composition create movement. Okay. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make this really, really big, like this. Huge. Okay.
Wow.
There's a big fat triangle. And over here, remember, you have your layer stack. Okay. Now that hasn't changed. We used to have that on the right. It's still on the right. And what makes this really great is if you're familiar with other Adobe apps, like maybe Adobe Fresco or Photoshop or Illustrator, your layer stack is always sitting over there on the right. So I just slide that by grabbing it and sticking it under the blackboard. Okay. Ba-boom. Now it's behind my blackboard. So now I have a nice little patch of color there. And I can do the same thing by adding another color back here if I want with a different shape. All right, so as I continue to work on that, Ruth, do you want to go through this same process and get yours started?
Yep, no problem. You pass it over to me. So yeah,
Alrighty.
hey, so I'm going to just show you again. Remember, like I said, every time Kyle shows something, I'm going to show the exact same thing, but maybe not quite the same way because we're two different people and it's nice to kind of see different options. So let's get started then. So I'm going to hit on the plus at the top. I've got custom size. If you remember from before, that was 1920 by 1080. That's just basically a standard widescreen, like a TV size. So I'm going to hit create new project. It's loaded in. So, I mean, I don't need to go through as much as what Kyle did, which is great because he's already done it. So all my options are on the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow along roughly with what Dom had originally done and leave Kyle to do the lovely design stuff. I'll get the sort of facts in, not saying that Dom's wasn't lovely design, of course.
It was.
It was really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going to elements. And I'm going to go to design assets, and I'm going to search for something like a banner because I'd like to put, of course, my name massive in the banner, because your name, whatever way you're doing it, in the banner. So I'm going to choose which one I kind of like the look of. I always really like these sort of doodle sort of style, those sketchy styles. So I'm going to choose this.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's up to you, whatever way you want to pick it. And again, if you've selected one and you're like, I didn't really, I might want a different one, instead of deleting that and bringing in a new one, over here with this selected, you're going to see these two little squares with like arrows that are turning. That just means replace. So if I click on that, it's going to come up with banner, and it means then I can just replace this and it will go in the same, wherever you've positioned it layout wise. It will replace it there. So it's very handy to know that you can just hit replace. But I'm going to stick with this one. I quite like it. The one thing to know is that design assets cannot be changed as in the color or anything. They're sort of fixed. The only way to change that is by maybe adding a little filter or something onto it where you could color it if you wanted to. But I'm pretty happy with black and white. I like that. I'm a simple person. I like my black and whites. So I'm going to go to text over on the left, and I'm just going to tap on add your text rather than these templates. And I'm just going to type my name. Actually, I'm going to do capitals. And then I'm going to pick my nice font. Now, this is where I could spend about half an hour choosing a font. I'm terrible. It takes me forever to find a font because I love looking at it. So if you're like me and you struggle with that, you can actually go to these recommended fonts up at the top, and it will show you all the different fonts without showing you the name of the font. And I can kind of see what it looks like. That one's a bit crazy.
It helps to have recommendations from Express. Here's a fun fact for you, Ruth. There are over 14,000 fonts in the Adobe font library. So no wonder it's hard to choose.
14,000?
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I'm just going to scroll through all 14,000. You guys can wait for me. So we're kind of looking for something, because I went for a wee sketchy style of banner. I'm kind of looking for something a wee bit sort of more hand drawn. I literally could, I'm just going to pick this one just for something a bit different. It's a bit funky. So I'm just going to resize it, move it up, and I might just rotate it so that it kind of fits. Okay, now there's different things that you could do. I don't want to get into too much detail. Again, if I choose my font, I can go in here and there's lots of different ways. There's different layouts I can do. What I want to do is I want to recolor it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on more colors. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see what kind of color. And I see color-wise, I love a good old like teal or like an aquamarine or those sort of colors. I'm always partial to that kind of.
I want to go scuba diving there.
I know, right? Like under the sea. So I'm kind of going to stick with something like that. I might play around with it whenever I pass it over to Kyle again. I'm sure he'll have something. But what I'm going to do is, because there are 4 questions, I am going to kind of try to stick to the original idea. So I'm going to go to elements, going to go to design assets, and I'm just going to do a speech bubble, because don't forget our little animated character is going to be saying all of these things. So it's nice to kind of have that speech bubble. And because I went for this sketchy style, there is actually a little sketch speech bubble, which I really like. And I'm going to resize, rotate it, and going to have it, because I'm going to put my characters. So Kyle has put their character over to the left, which is great. I'm going to put my character front and center, right below my name. So all of these little, what Kyle probably knows the actual, like the little speech bubble, like.
Yeah.
Is it a teal? I don't really, what is it?
It's you can call it a tail. That's actually one of the official words for it.
There you go. That's why it was in my head.
That's right.
So I might just do something like that. And then with this selected, if I want to use the same speech bubble again and again, I can actually just, with it selected, I can go to duplicate at the top. And then I can just move that around, rotate it. I might flip it, actually. There's wee flips here, just so the tail looks a wee bit different. It fits in that space a bit easier. I'll resize it and kind of move it around. This one is absolutely massive. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to be positioning 4 little speech bubbles around in each corner. And then I might put a little triangle in the background to add a bit of dynamic color, because my background is very black and white. So it will allow me to kind of play with a bit of color. But I might throw over to you then, Kyle, and see how you're kind of getting on there.
All right, I'll show you where we are now. All right, so here we are. I am now, as you can see, playing with, I've added a couple of graphics, but I have this backpack here. And I want to remind everybody that one of the cool things you can do with a photograph that you bring in, okay, from one of your photography assets when you do a search, is right here. This is magical, remove background. So if I just tap on remove background, we're going to see that the backpack is going to pop off of that white perfectly. Look at that. And now we have a backpack floating right there on top of the chalkboard. I can slide that down here in the corner. And this is just sort of reinforcing that whole idea that it's back to school, time to bring your book bags, time to get back to work. And we'll throw that right there in the corner just for context. That makes it fun. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding some text right here on the chalkboard. Okay. And these are some of the questions I wanted you all to think about answering. And so I'm going to start with using the text tool. If you look over here on the left, there it is, text. And it's automatically going to pull up a bunch of design options you have. All right. Now, I don't need to use any of these right now, but you can use these for titles. You can use them for any kind of contained text that has a certain kind of stacking to it, a certain kind of design to it. But what I want to do is just add my own text right here. So add your text. There we go. I'm going to size that down a little bit. All right. So we have room for all of our questions. And one of the newest and best things we have in Express now is the ability to edit the text directly on the canvas. So I'm pausing for the applause. I know I can't hear it, but I'm sure it's happening out there. Okay. And the reason is
close, you know.
It should be amazing. It should be deafening, actually. If we were in the room with everybody, we'd hear it. Because you used to have to, if you remember, edit your text in a text box over in the editing bay, so to speak. And there was a disconnect between that experience and what you saw on the canvas. Yeah. Now it's happening right here, which is so great. All right, so I'm going to just extend this out like so. And I'm going to move it up here to the corner. And you might be wondering why you can't read it. Well, that's because, of course, it is basically black on black. So let's go ahead and we'll change our fill color right here, fill color for that text. And I'm just going to make it white. Okay, nothing too exciting right there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to change our, right here, alignment. Okay, we're going to justify and align our text to the left. And the first question we had was, or rather statement, this year I'm looking forward to fill in the blank. So I'm going to write this year I'm looking forward to. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and change all of the text to a different size. Now I can do this. I can tap on this little minus thing right here, or I can actually hold it down if I want to go faster. And also, I'm already looking at it thinking, well, that text looks kind of boring. How about something like recommended options? That right there is way better, okay? But then we have more options that present themselves. That's quite nice as well, right? And, you know, just like Ruth, I wind up getting stuck with all the options, all right? But I think, let's go back for a moment. I think this is really clear and lovely. I think I'll stick with this for now. And all I have to do is drag from the right here to ensure that I have that text covering that entire line on the chalkboard. And I'll go ahead and reduce the size a bit more because I know I'm going to have to write quite a bit more there. In fact, I might just break it into 2 lines. Let's see how it goes. So this year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. And let's go ahead and take all that text. Now that I've sort of got an idea of how big it is, are you ready for some design vocabulary here, Ruth? This is—
Yes, I love it. I love it. Good.
Oh, this right here, this word all by itself on a line, completely alone, is called a widow. Designers don't like widows. And so what we have to do is we have to either break the text. So I could do this. I could, where it says more, I could just hit return. And then we've got a couple of words there and it looks a little more balanced. Okay. But another option, of course, is to simply take the text and make it slightly larger. So I can grab all that and eventually a break will happen on its own, like so. Okay. So you want to avoid your widows. Now, before we get any further, I want to remind you that one of the things we're going to do later is add a picture to each of these elements. So I'm realizing that probably the best thing for me to do is size this down a bit more so I have room for something to animate in right here. Okay, so there we go. All right, this year I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. Now, what do I do if I want to take this type and I want to reuse it? Well, you have that option to duplicate something. If you look over here, you have 2 squares sitting on top of one another, a little plus sign, okay? And that's duplicate. Now, the moment I hit that, voila, it creates a second asset, okay, identical to the first. And I can just reposition that, go ahead and select my type. And if you're a fan of keyboard shortcuts, if anybody likes that kind of stuff.
I love them, yeah.
There you go. Command A, or it's going to be select all. Okay. So I'm now selecting all of that and I can just simply replace it. My favorite. Oh, I better use the English spelling. I'm coming from the States and I don't want to spell it wrong. My favorite thing I did this summer was hang glide over a volcano. No big deal.
Super chill. Yeah.
Probably forgot to mention that when we were talking earlier about what I was up to. Let's go ahead and duplicate that again. Okay. And we'll drag it down here and look at these handy little guidelines that show up. You see the pink lines that just appear on the screen, or are they more fuchsia? You tell me. I think it's more of a pink fuchsia. That's helping me line everything up really, really clean. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and let's add the next one. I'm glad to be back at school because I love art classes. All right, I've got a widow right there. Let's go ahead and just hit return, and that's gotten rid of it. So Ruth, I'm going to carry on with my text. Should I bounce it back over to you and see how we're going?
Yeah, no probs. So mine's just very plain because I realized that my speech bubbles are hollow. They're not solid white. So if I put anything behind it, you can't read what's on it, but that's okay. So what I've got is I've added a big blob, a really cool little blob in the middle that'll give a little background for whatever character I decide to do. And perfect. On my speech bubbles, I went in and changed, I added a little duotone effect, which allowed me to recolor them just to add a wee bit, of vibrancy to it. That's really all that it's doing.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to add in some of my text because we've got 4 questions that we need to deal with. So I'm going to go to text, add your text, and I'm going to go this year. I'm looking forward to. Don't forget, these questions are on that Adobe, the Bitly webpage that's still scrolling along the bottom of the screen. So if you're not sure what the 4 questions are, that's what they are. And then because I'm doing this, even though, see, this font I chose is more like a handwritten font, because I want this to be easily read, I'm going to choose a nice chunky sans serif font, which is my favorite is Montserrat. I don't know why. It's probably not even why you call it, but I just like it because it's nice and simple. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to resize. And what the cool thing I really like about these text boxes is if I pull, see the way there's the little circle handles that will resize. And then, but if I pull this out, this will allow me to change the order, which would help with our little widow words as well.
Yes.
For sizing. So I'm going to just move it down and I'm going to put it inside this first speech bubble. Just positioning again. Hopefully you guys are following along. If there's any issues, let us know. But this is a nice little activity. Once I've got my text in there, what I might do is I might choose that my font color is the same as my speech bubble color. So what I'll need to do is I might use this little dropper tool. So again, I clicked on my text, went to the fill. Instead of choosing a color, I've gone to my dropper tool and I'm going to choose the color of my speech bubble so that it matches.
Cool.
I think that's quite nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to go to duplicate at the top, bring it down. Now this one's a bit more awkward, the shape, but that's okay. We can figure that out. Then the second question is my favorite thing I did this summer was, see, Kyle's giving away all of his answers. I'm keeping them secret until I record the audio. Not for any reason more than just I'm like, I'll keep that one in my pocket. So I'm actually just going to rotate this just so it fits a wee bit easier. You might have to play around with it. The main thing is if you are going to overlap, it's just make sure that it's easy for other people to read. Sometimes when you're designing, like I know what it says, so I can read it, but it doesn't mean that somebody else would be able to read it. So that's the main thing. You don't want your text to be illegible as such, not readable.
Right.
So, isn't that? Yeah, that's one of the worst things. That's the hardest thing when you're designing on your own, is you think that something looks great and then you show it to someone and they're like, what's this? You're like, oh, I've been in my head too long. That's okay. So again, I'm just duplicating, moving things across, using my rotate tool, all the same stuff that you've seen before. But the nice thing is we're taking our time with this because it's really important to get everything sitting right. Our third question is, I'm glad to be back at school because, whoops, can't spell. I'm going to click off, go to fill, use my dropper tool. You guys get the idea now. It's all nice. We're just sticking to the same sort of things. That's what I really like about this repetitiveness, because once you get it once, you can definitely get it. And then my final one, then I'm going to duplicate, move down, probably have to rotate it because I did my speech bubble sideways, but I think it's still, I think you can still read it. It's okay. And my favorite food, which I've made the biggest speech bubble, even though it's the smallest sentence, my favorite food is, and I'm just going to select it, go to fill. Oh, hold on. So, yep, go to fill, use my little eyedropper, and choose that color. I might just make that. I quite like it on the 2 lines, something like that. Actually, I might be able to put it sideways now. See, everything changes all the time. That's the thing. If you're sitting going, my designs change so much, that is normal. You're totally normal. My design, I keep changing my mind as I go through things or something like that. But I think I'm pretty happy with that. What I might do is I might resize this and put it down a wee bit just so that we've done that. And I'm going to put this behind everything. So it's going to be in the back. This is kind of my background. Just using those layers to like that. So it's like a nice little, it almost looks like a weird egg or a sun or something, but that will be my background. So it makes it easier for me to know. Yeah, so I think that's mostly what we've got here. The only thing I might do is I might go up to the background and add a little color in. So Kyle has done some lovely shapes in the background of his, but I think I might go up to background and see. Now, this is where I'll probably change my mind. Yeah, see, because my speech bubbles are all that sort of style, I think I'm going to stick with the white. I'm going to just stick with the white just so that everything can stand out, because we're going to be bringing images in and I don't want any clashes with colors. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with mine. If we want to throw it back to Kyle, we'll see how he's getting on. We're about 35 minutes in. It's great.
Let's do it. Okay. Hope everybody's keeping up. Remember, you can pause if necessary. I've got my background ready to go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and save this graphic. Okay. So here you have the option to download. All right. I'm just going to go download. PNG is fine. And I say go. And there it goes. It's going to save my download. And then I just have to go and find that image, because I'm going to bring that in as a background for this project. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to save this project. Or it should automatically be saved. I think I'm going to be okay to go.
You know what we forgot to do, Kyle? We're so silly. We forgot to rename our project. So currently, I know I'm so bad. I always do that, and then I'm like, whoops. So I did the same. Sure. So do you want to show how to rename their project? So it's just along the top there.
I think I need to be shown how to do that, because
no problem.
I've always had the worst habit of naming everything untitled and then just finding it based on section. I'm terrible about that.
Very easy. I'll talk you through. So just on the left side, the top left along the black bar, you're going to see untitled. If you just click on that, that's how you rename it.
Well, how about that?
I know. I forgot. I'll do the same thing. So I'm doing the same. So back to school background or something like that. Yeah.
I always put BG for background too. That's always my little code for that. Makes it really, really easy for me. All right. So heading back to the Adobe Express homepage here, remember we went to the little plus sign, and under quick actions, I could easily access animate from audio. Okay. And here we have our animate from audio. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is where it says background. Okay. I'm going to upload the image that I just saved as a PNG. So if I go to my downloads right here, I'll just hit the space bar and you'll see a preview of it. There it is. I know that I've got the right image. I also know it's the right size. I say open and say fill background. Let's go to our size here and let's make sure we're doing 1080 by 1920. Landscape though, we need to change that to landscape. So let's see.
Do we go resize for Instagram? Is it?
Oh, here we go. YouTube. Kablam. Does that work? There we go. Under landscape. So look at that. It fits absolutely perfectly. And I've got the silly goat just hanging out there right now in the center. Now I can change that to be whatever I want. Look at all these characters. Okay. There are probably too many to choose from, but I think my son would absolutely say that I have to go for the ninja. So there we go. I'm going to resize the ninja. Look at this. So easy. Just like anything else, just drag it like so. Okay. From the corner and put the ninja right down here. And you notice that you can, even with these characters, if I slide this up a little bit, okay, you don't have to use the entire character. You can have it zoom in on the character and have just part of the character right there. I'm even going to have it overlap the pencil case and the bulletin board, or rather the blackboard, just a little bit, okay? And now what I'm ready to do is record my speech, okay? And so when I do this recording, if you are all in a busy classroom, or maybe you've got some background noise or things like that, what you want to do is turn on enhance speech right here. I'm in a pretty quiet room right now. There are no trucks outside or any crazy things happening. Godzilla hasn't walked by in the last hour or two. I'm just going to say record, and here we go. Hey there, I'm Kyle. This year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. My favorite thing I did this summer was hang glide over a volcano. I'm glad to be back at school because I love art classes. My favorite food is frittatas because I love to say frittata. All right, now when I say done, if you look over here, You get a fun little animation. And I don't know why this crab is fighting against a robot crab.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
It start to, it says computing lip sync. All right. So it's going to go through the motions right there. Now, while it's doing that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, Ruth, if you want to do your recording. I'm not sure where you are in the project. I don't want to rush you. And if
No,
anybody else pause
it's
at this moment and do their recording, we could be quiet for a minute, or after Ruth's done recording, we could be quiet for a minute and make sure you all have some time to do that.
Thanks. So I'm still in my design background. So I've renamed it because I can't believe we forgot to rename our project. So whoops, oh well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download mine as well. So I'm going to go download PNG. That's perfect. I'm just going to click on download. Whee! And then you'll notice if you're good and you rename it, it will let you know exactly what it is. Because I'm the same, Kyle. I have so many untitled or untitled 12 projects or whatever it is. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go back. So I'm just going to hit this little A, the Adobe A. That's going to take us back into here. And what I can do is I can go to the plus. We've got quick actions, and we're going to go animate from audio. Again, you've already seen all this. I'm just repeating it so that if you missed anything, you can see it. So in here then, we're going to go to background, and we're going to click on upload image. And this is where you're going to choose what background you have. So again, your computers will look different because you might not be on Macs or anything. You guys know it mostly goes in your downloads folder. I'm going to click on my background, going to click on open. And again, I have the same issue as what Kyle did. Mine's not actually resized to the right way because you can't see all my lovely speech bubbles. So I'm just going to click on size, resize 4, and we're going to go YouTube, or you can go to custom if you want to type in 1920 by 1080, but YouTube already has it here for us. I'm going to click on landscape, and then boom, I actually really like this little superhero, but I'm going to see the character.
Perfect character. I love it.
I know, it's kind of perfect. The color too. Although while our cape kind of gets a wee bit lost in the yellow, but I still think it stands out. So I'm going to have a wee look at characters, and I'm going to see, because to be honest with you, I haven't actually seen all the characters that are available. I did see that there's a Sasquatch.
Oh, I love it.
Fabulous. Or a little tiny avocado. The cool thing is every time you record, now we haven't actually shown you the final product, but when you record it and you hit back on play, they are going to be animated and talking through. So you kind of want to make sure you pick the right sort of character. I kind of love Leonard. I'm going to go Leonard because of glasses. That's it. What is it?
I just love it. I love Leonard. That's a great character.
I know, and I think it's a good idea to do, like, you could do their body, but I kind of love the shoes that kind of makes Leonard, and I did have a pair of those Vans shoes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So I'm going to make mine a wee bit bigger. Just
hey,
so
Ruth, let's give a shout out to Dave Werner. Dave Werner is the artist who created a lot of these really original characters that we have in here.
Oh, well, Dave, thank you so much, because I absolutely, I love, like, look at Tull, like, it's so cool. There's such cool, and little Steve, like, I love his teeth. So many moments. So yeah, have a wee bit of fun, pick your character, whatever one you kind of want. And then again, you can turn on enhanced speech. That's a really good idea in the classroom, just because there's so many people recording, as Kyle said, but thankfully, I'm on my own, so I don't need to turn that on, and I'm just going to hit record, and it's going to give a wee 3 count, and then I'll start recording. Hi, my name's Ruth. This year, I'm looking forward to Halloween. My favorite thing I did this summer was I went kayaking. I'm glad to be back at school because I just love biology class, and my favorite food is donuts. Yum, 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 yum. There we go. So that's my audio. So
beautiful. Who doesn't love donuts?
I know, donuts are the best. And what you'll notice is I have a little different animation. I have a plant eating something else. I can't remember. It just sort of... So it takes a wee while, so you have to be patient with this. So what I'll do is I'll throw back over to Kyle, or say I'll throw back, Kyle's doing it all, and we'll see, has yours finished uploading yet?
There we go. Look at that. It says download your MP4, that's your video file format, or open an Express to add filters, text, animations, and more. Well, that is what we want to do. Now, of course, you could just download whatever you've done. If that's all you want to do, great. But as you know, we want to add some cool stuff to these movies. And we're also going to teach you how to use the video timeline editor, and that's going to be part of this next phase here. So we can go ahead and open in the editor. I'll do that now.
Kyle, I'm just thinking, actually, just before we start doing that, we might just give you about 5 minutes.
Exactly.
I was just thinking, just for you guys to be able to get your audio recorded, and so it gives you an opportunity. We'll just maybe might go through the different characters and just talk about those, and then you can turn us down so that we're not going to be in your recordings or anything, and then we'll get into the editor, which would be great. So because we've loads of time, we are absolutely flying through this. Great.
Yeah. You got time, and the next phase is really, really easy to expand and enjoy, and you can take your time looking for images. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a little break. I think 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, 5 even minutes. I think we're fine, right, Ruth?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have plenty of time. So when we say we'll take a wee break, like we'll just throw up we can put on music or we can just chat. But what I'll do is I might just open up a new tab, just so I don't interrupt my lovely project. And then maybe we could just go through like different options. Oh, there's some music. Kyle's all over it.
A little bit of music in the background. You can turn us down. I'm going to start getting ready over here. I've got the video editor open, so I'll just have that ready to go. I'm going to skip the tour because we're going to teach people how to do that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. And then, there's
all right. I want to make sure. And how are you feeling about your design? Are you feeling like you've got a good place there, or do you want to continue playing with it?
Yeah, I think I usually just sort of change things all the time, but I think it's clean enough that my images will stand out. I mean, obviously I could make it look a lot nicer, but I really like that sort of sketchy style. For school, and I love it. Kind of matches the wee character that I chose, because I noticed it's very rough around the edges. It looks like it was drawn with like a crayon or something, which is really cool. So yeah, no, I love yours. Like do you say your son would be disappointed if you didn't pick the ninja?
Totally. I mean, ninjas are the coolest.
Ninjas forever.
Now, I have a friend named Keith Negley who actually did a picture book with a ninja. He sort of had this enviable picture book career where every time he thinks of something really fun or cool, he finds a publisher who's willing to work with him and actually make the book. He just did a book with Batman in it. It's a picture book for kids, and he somehow got DC to sign off on allowing him to use Batman for it, even though it has nothing to do with DC. He's done all kinds of really great picture books. You can look him up. One of my favorite books he did is called Tough Guys Have Feelings Too.
Love it.
And it's about big burly guys who are supposed to be mean and tough, and how they cry, when they hurt themselves or when they're feeling sad or whatever. And it's a great book, especially for young boys to read and see that, these men who seem to be all big and tough are just as emotional as everybody else, and that's perfectly great, and that's normal. And that was one of his best sellers. It's a good book. Tough Guys.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Because there was t-shirts that came out that were like "Boys Cry Too," and it was the same sort of thing, But yeah, so it's like, I know most people have probably got us down, so it's okay. And if you're still listening, that's great. But that animate from audio is brand new, and it is so much fun. There's so many options that you can do with it. This is a fun way that we're kind of doing, where we're bringing in loads of different elements. But for something really quick, you could just be like say your teacher asked you to do a presentation on something like the rainforest or something like that. You could be a little character in the rainforest.
Absolutely.
About snakes and frogs and things. So it's a really great way, and especially it's really good skill to learn to record your voice, because that's something you need to use all the time, and to do it properly, because the closer you get to your microphone, the more crackly it'll be because it's peeking out. So you don't want your volume too much. So learning how to do that is really cool. But I'm just sitting like while we're talking, I'm just looking at all these little backgrounds that are in like oh, you can see me there. Like they're so cool. Like they're just amazing. Like there's one there that's pretty much your sort of.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hey.
Look at that. And it's like, so again, if you wanted, now obviously Kyle has added in all his text and we're going to do that. But what you could do as an option is you could record this and then add the text in afterwards, which is in the editor, which we're going to be doing. So there's loads of options to it. Like look at the wee cantina. It's so good.
I love it. That's one of the best things is that you do not have to do everything in a specific order. There's a lot of flexibility in the design process in Express where you can go back and forth, make up your mind, change things here and there. It's not like you get stuck and suddenly you're committed to something you don't like. There's always a chance to change something up.
Like, look at this pirate stuff. Perfect. Oh, it's so, I love the peg leg. I mean, you have to.
What's a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet?
I do know, but I don't know. What is it?
R.
I love it. That's literally the only pirate joke because there's a Talk Like a Pirate Day, like international.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, there's an international Talk Like a Pirate Day, and there's some places. I feel like it might have been Krispy Kreme actually, because we were talking about them earlier. It might not have been, but maybe it was Dunkin' Donuts, and it went in. And if you went in on Pirate Day and you went yar and talked like a pirate, they would give you a free donut.
Oh, that's too easy. That's too easy.
I know. I mean, I feel like they should come in and like with some loot or like dressed up, but all you have to do is talk. But
are you allowed to walk in, talk like a pirate, walk back out, and walk right back in and get another donut?
Like a different pirate. I mean, sure, you could probably try it. But it's even like I'm just looking. All I'm doing is looking through these and thinking of all the different subjects that you're kind of looking at. Like if you're doing space, there's a really cool one around. You can be like a little astronaut given some. Like look, you're on like another.
That's fun.
That's so cool. So yeah, there's loads of different options. You could also do like, what do I want to be when I grow up, or like you could just be a football talks. Sure. But yeah, so I think hopefully everybody's kind of caught up now. I think that's pretty much. I feel like waving to get their attention, but yeah, hopefully you've all got your audio recorded. And you can hit edit audio. No, editor, wasn't it? Hold on.
Yeah, it's time to move on to the video editor. We can see how this is going to work. Ruth, I don't know if you want to do yours first since we've got your screen up, or do you want me to carry on? It's up to you.
Well, sure. I've got mine up here. I'll get them started and then we'll go back to you. Sure.
Excellent.
So I've got my little character. Oh, actually, do you know what? I need to switch over so that you can hear my audio. Because we had some fun trying to figure out how to share our audio earlier.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to stop share so it's back to the two of us. Hi.
Hi.
And I'm just going to make sure that you can hear what is going on. So this is hopefully my little project. I'm just going to check my audio. Hi, my name's Ruth.
Perfect.
Oh, it just stopped. There's no audio. Hold on.
Oh, try again.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Something's happened to my audio, but sure.
We had it. It sounded great.
Yeah, I was, hi, my name's Ruth, and then just nothing happened. What we'll do is maybe go over to you, Kyle, and I'll see if I can figure out what's going on with my little audio. I've got a little question mark thingy there.
All right, I'll do the same as what you just did. I'll go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing mine and then reshare and see if I can get the audio to work as well. And let's have our fingers crossed and see how we go. I'm pretty confident we're going to be okay. So let's try it. All right, here we go. Back to the Ninja. And I'm going to go ahead and hit play. Hey there, I'm Kyle. This year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. The thing I did this summer was hang glide over a volcano. I'm glad to be back at school because I love art classes. My favorite food is frittatas because I love to say frittata. Now,
That
what
looks
I love is how these characters animate, and they even animate with a sort of rhythm to them based on the
Mhm.
audio that you are giving them, which is extremely fun.
Yeah.
And with all the characters you saw available, you can just imagine how much fun it is to cycle through and try all of these. But I want to tell you, one of the most common and popular requests we have had, of course, at Adobe is, hey, can I animate my own character? Because imagine how fun it would be to design and draw your own character and bring that to life. So I just want to assure everybody that the brilliant engineers and scientists and designers are trying to figure that out.
That's so
It
cool.
takes incredible levels of engineering skill and scientific brains and code and all kinds of things to make that something we can make easy enough for everybody to do without having to jump through a lot of hoops. So, but I will say that that is something that people are working on. I'm excited for that. Being
Yeah.
someone who draws every day, I love to draw, so I want to draw my own characters. All right, now let's move on and let's see how we can now juice this up and really bring it to life with a couple of more things. We're going to add in some animated elements over here on the right. So here is our video timeline, okay? Now what I want to do is simply, like I always would with any project, just go over here and grab some assets. So the first thing it says, learning about lizards, all right? So I'm going to go to media, here we are, and let's do lizard. Bam. Look at all these lovely lizards. Now, of course, I want to use one that is going to be on a white background so I can just punch out that background. And I also want one that's going to fit nicely there. So I have lots of little options. I kind of like this guy, kind of like that guy. I like this guy. So
Loads of good lizards.
look at this one. This is a great one. Let's go ahead and try this bearded dragon. All right, now you know the trick. Everyone knows the drill. What do? You want to get rid of the white, remove background, okay? Wave your hands around. It's like a little magic trick. And when you're ready, see if you can time it with a kablam. Oh, I missed it. Let's try again. Kablam. Nope.
No.
Third time's a charm. Kablam. Ah, I can't get any. I'm going to have to resort to just doing, standard boring magic tricks here. Let's see. While it's thinking.
You know what? Is it trying to remove the background on your video, actually, I think, rather than your lizard?
Oh, Lord. I think you're absolutely right. I totally messed that up. Hang on. You're so smart.
No, it was just I just saw. I was like, oh, the video.
No, you totally nailed it. That's what it was. I was about to do this for everybody. Just stick my pen in my ear and then pull it out of my nose. I'm gonna try and do a little magic trick for you. All right. Don't try that at home, kids. Check it out. Now we've got. There we go. We're just going to size that down. Right now you say, oh, well, that's not very exciting. What are we going to do? Well, don't worry. Look over here. Okay. Here's my lizard. And here I have some options for animation. Let's tap on animation. And you have 3 different moments that you can animate. Okay. This is so great. So we'll start with animating in. I want something to animate into the scene. So we're going to tap on in here. First option, we have bungee. All right, see how it just gives me a nice little preview as I mouse over each of these. It can grow in size, it can flicker, fade in. Okay, here's one, pop. I like that. So I'm going to say pop. Okay, now you have options for controlling how long you want that pop to occur. Okay, personality of the pop. It's fun to say that. It can be strong, soft, loud. Okay, different kinds. We're just going to leave it as is for now. Because what I want to show you is that when I tap on this, okay, I want to see right here, show layer timing. Can you all see that? Show layer timing. If I turn that on, look what happens. There is my lizard, okay? Yeah. Now, if I tap on the lizard, okay, right here, there's a little arrow, okay? It's got arrowheads on both the front and the back. And I can drag this along and it'll show up where I want it to show up when I say the thing that I'm saying about lizards. So let's play the audio here, okay, and see when I need that to show up. Hey there, I'm Kyle. This year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. There.
Perfect.
I'm just going to pop it over a little further back, and we can test it again about lizards. All right, and we'll slide it back just a hair. There we go. And about lizards. Bam.
Perfect.
So now we know that that's in the right place, okay? And I'm going to go through and do the same for each of these other elements. I can resize this. Don't worry, its animation is still going to stay intact. Everything's good to go. And now I want to add in something about a volcano. So should I pass it over to you, Ruth, while I'm searching for another asset?
No problem. This is where I'm going to find out, does my audio work now? I think I refreshed it. I think something went wrong. Hi, my name's Ruth. This year, I'm looking forward to Halloween. My favorite thing, I love how you went Halloween and kind of did one thing. So it's more, if you're more expressive whenever you're recording your voice, they animate a wee bit more. I did this summer was I went kayaking. I'm glad to be back at school because I just love biology class. And my favorite food is donuts. Yum, 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 yum.
I love the way they had yum, 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 yum. That's perfect.
Yum, yum. It's perfect. So I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to find where I said I'm looking forward to Halloween. This year, I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to leave it there. And I'm just going to do something. I just do a slightly different order than Kyle, but it's all the same stuff. Then I'm going to turn on show layer timing. So I can see that there's no layer there. So I need to add in my photograph. So for Halloween, I have a few options. I could go to media and I could search photographs and find something around Halloween. This is where we have a wee bit of time. So if you want, you take the time to get the right graphic that you want. I can also go into elements and I could search those design assets and see what I kind of get. So when I think of Halloween, most people probably sort of think of their jack-o'-lanterns, their pumpkins and things like that. So there's loads of different options. There's our little ghosts, or there's a wee eyeball. I quite like that moon with the bats. I might actually add that in. So if I just click on it, there it is. It's in my design. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make mine fit inside my little speech bubble because that's what I'm saying. So I can make it fit down here, quite like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it so that it begins when I say the word Halloween. Now, if you position your little playhead, you'll notice as I scroll across, it kind of snaps into place. So it makes it a wee bit easier to kind of position things.
We love
snapping. What?
We love snapping.
We do love snapping. Snapping is the handiest thing ever. Whoever invented snapping, thank you. We all very much are appreciative. So I'm just going to click on my moon. And exactly the same as what Kyle's already shown you, I'm going to go to animation. I'm going to go to in. And I'm tempted by spin just because of it's a circle shape, so it would kind of spin well. But then also it's Halloween, so I want it to scare. So I'm kind of thinking that flicker might be quite cool because it looks like lightning has kind of hit. So I think I'm going to choose this flicker and tell it to last for a minute. And I can hit play. Halloween. My favorite thing I did this. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then what I might do is I might add in this looping option is actually just while our image is on the screen. So for the duration that it's on. So hopefully you've remembered to drag it all the way to the end. I think it automatically tells it to go to the full length. But just in case you don't, you want this to last the whole length. If you go to looping, this is going to be like a little constant animation that will go on throughout. So it just makes it look you want it to be subtle, though you don't want anything too distracting. So that's probably a bit too much. It's just spinning in a circle. We've got wiggle. I quite like wiggle. It works well with the circle. Or there's jitter. Jitter's quite cool too, actually. And you can kind of play with these and see what sort of you like. Again, this is your project. You choose what you want. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to hit Halloween. My favorite thing I did this summer was I went kayaking. So I'm going to find where before I say kayaking, I'm going to move back. I'm going to go to media. I'm going to search for kayak. There's a person in a kayak. We're going to see how good it gets rid of this background. This is test in Adobe here. So I'm going to click on it. Usually it's really, really good. I've got my photo selected and I'm going to choose remove background.
Yes, it's good that you look at the photo and not the video like me.
I think it was you clicked on it and it just switched. Yeah, I know. That was really that. I mean, I don't know why I'm still surprised. The remove background feature. I'm telling you, you guys are spoiled because for years I had to do that manually and it took forever in Photoshop.
Oh,
Kyle can feel the pain too.
oh my goodness. Yeah.
I'm going to put that in. That's pretty great. And again, I'm going to have to change where it starts. So I've got that and I can go to animation. You can see it's very repetitive, but the main thing to get is make sure you get the images that you want. You know, you really want to make sure that those images are great. And again, if I say I have this one chosen and I had an animation already on it, so say I just did fade, if I go to replace, I could choose a different image and you'll see it's kind of popped it in there and you'll see that it's actually kept all of it's coming in at the same time because I hit replace. And also the animation is already in, so I don't need to add that again because I hit replace image. Now, the thing is, I don't like this one as much, so I do want to go back. So I'm just going to hit a little back arrow at the top there. And yeah, so we're just going to spend a wee bit of time getting this together. So hopefully you guys are just following along, getting your 4 images in whatever way you want. And you'll kind of see how you get on there. That's it really, isn't it, Kyle?
That's it. You play with the animation, try and get and you can remember everything. You can move around on the canvas. You can resize. I'll pop back over to my screen for a moment. You can see that I've just added now a volcano. And I want to quickly mention something I did with this volcano so people know that they can do this, which is the volcano itself is actually a rectangular image. But one of the great things you can do with any image in Express is what's called masking. Okay. And what we actually call it in Express is cropping. Okay. But the professional term is masking. And if you look at the image right here, I have this option to crop it. Okay. And if I just tap on the crop, you'll notice that we have all these presets you can use here. And the one I've used is a circle. And if I just zoom in here for a moment so you can see what we've got, I'm going to tap on that, go to my crop, and then I'm going to zoom in. You can see the full size of that volcano image. It's actually a rectangle, but there's that circle that I'm cropping in on. All right. And when I tap back on my design on my canvas, you'll see that it's only revealing part of the image. That's why it's called a mask. You're masking out part of the image. And so that's great because now I can have that fit much better on the blackboard. It's graphic design wise, it's much more appealing. I also brought in some paintbrushes. Now each of these have different animations. I was just using those menus that we have. So if I tap on this, you'll notice that for animation, we have a shrink in and then a bob for the looping, okay? So if we go back for a moment and hit play. Hey there, I'm Kyle. This year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. My favorite thing I did this summer was hang glide over a volcano. I'm glad to be back at school because I love art classes. You can see how each of these are filling in that space and animating in and then staying kind of alive on the canvas, but they're not distracting like you mentioned, Ruth. They're not bouncing all over the walls and everything. And the last one I need to add is the frittatas. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we have that one final step, which we can save our video with a little bit of background music. Okay, and we'll show you how to add that. And Ruth, I think we're okay for time. We've got about, what, 6 minutes?
Yeah, we're great for time.
All right, let's roll on. I'm going to take my favorite food, add the frittatas. So I don't know if we have frittatas that we can search for, although with the, I think it's over 100 million images now in Express, there's probably something.
Yeah.
Let's try frittata.
You know what? It surprises it. There's loads. There's loads of
18,000 results. A little, yeah, that's a little bit nuts for just frittata. So I guess I underestimated what was possible. Here we have lots and lots of frittata options. I don't even know which one to pick, frankly. Again, I like the circle. The circle could balance nicely with the circle I have already for the volcano. So this overhead shot right here is probably what I'm going to go for. Look at that. Fits beautifully. All right, we'll throw that frittata in there, make it a little bit larger. And once again, you know what to do, folks. You go over here and use the crop. And I'm going to use this preset under shapes right here. And it's already done pretty much a perfect job, frankly. And I think I'll just leave that be. If you want to, you can shrink it a little more. But I like the way that's done that. So I'll just tap on my canvas once more. I can take the whole thing now and I'm going to size it down just a hair, but I do want it to kind of overlap, excuse me, this blackboard because I did the same thing with my lizard up here, my lizard. In fact, I'll make him a bit bigger. Look how picky you can be. If you're picky like me, you can get this exactly where you want. There we go. And let's go ahead and add a little bit of animation. We'll tap animation. And for the animating in, let's do something we haven't used. Let's do the bungee. How about that? Bam, a little bungee action. And for the looping, I think maybe I like bobbing for something round as well. We've used that already. We've used wiggle. We've got a yo-yo right there and even a spin. I think the spin feels pretty good. Let's do a spin. I'll just keep that intensity pretty low, okay? Around a 6. You could even decide if you wanted to go clockwise or counterclockwise. How nice. All right, now all I have to do is just adjust that timing. So we're going to throw that right in towards the end where I say frittata. And let's see how I timed that. Maybe I guessed right because I love to say frittata. All right, so that's going to come back a ways and we'll try again. Food is frittata. Frittata. Ooh. There we go. All right, so now we have all 4 elements animating in, okay? And the last thing I want to do is add a little bit of music. Let me show you how to do that, okay? This is a little bit different. You want to add music, all right? What you do is, we'll go back to the beginning. You go to media right here. And now you have options for audio. And we'll do background music. Look, it's right there, ready to go. You already have a bunch of options. Let's try lo-fi study and just not bad, pretty chill. But it doesn't sound like I'm really ready to get going for the school year. So why don't we try something like, I think At the Dentist isn't going to work for me there. I don't know about you. I'm not too excited about going to the dentist. There we go. I like that. I'm going to add this Carefree Future bass. Now, when I add it to my project, all I have to do is tap on it, just like that. And here's the most important thing, folks. Look up here, volume. You don't want it to be the loudest thing. I'm going to crank that way down to about 14%. And now let's listen. Hey there, I'm Kyle. This year, I'm looking forward to learning more about lizards. My favorite thing I did this summer was hang glide. I put it down to 3%.
Yeah,
okay?
it was really loud. I know.
There we go. So it's quiet now, quieter. Finally, what do we do, Ruth? Okay, last step. Here we go. We want to either download this, okay? Yep. But even more fun, if you want to share it with people easily, is you go to share. Oh, it says we're working on your file, so I have to give it a moment. It's still thinking. It wants to add that music. It wants to make sure everything's working. Try again. Go to share. We're working on your file. Come on, Express.
Do you want to throw it over to me? Sure, and then we'll see if
it's good. Go for it. Let's see how you're doing. I mean, you know, I think my expectations are just too high. I want instant gratification with everything.
So I'm at the exact same stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to media. I'm going to go to audio. Now, see, you're like, that's not very back to school. I love lo-fi. So
do it.
The main thing you want to watch is you can see that there's a time. So this is 43 seconds. Now that's very, very long. Just be careful because you want to make sure you can see at the bottom here, my clip's 19.4 seconds. Just choose a clip that will match the length. You don't want it too short. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to bring my audio down. I'm going to see maybe 15. I think you might be right. Hi, my name's Ruth. This year, I'm looking forward to Halloween. My favorite thing I did this summer was I went kayaking. Look at my wee kayak. I'm glad to be back at school because I just love biology class. And my favorite food is donuts. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, and it's a little rocker donut too. So it's looking, these little animations, like it just makes your little animated character really come to life. Like it's really quite exciting. This is the first time Kyle and I have really done this the whole way through, and we're amazed. Like it's so good, which is great. And then I'm going to have the same issue. Oh no, I don't.
You're good to go.
I'm good to go. Must be just I chose a smaller clip of audio. So again, whenever you've finished and you've reviewed it, now remember before you hit download, make sure you double check your work. And so that all of your little animations are coming in when you want them to, your images. If they aren't, you just have to click on it once and you're going to see there, and that's where you can change it. So if my donuts are coming in the wrong point, I can move that little bar. If my heart is coming in at the wrong point, you don't see them all in one. That's one thing Cal and I noticed. You don't see them all in one. You have to click on. Okay, so it's good to double check. Always check your work. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on download, and we're going to choose MP4. MP4 is the best because it compresses. It makes your file really small. And video resolution, we could go 1080. That's just full HD. If your school computers have very small storage, which they might do, you might need to put that down to 720. But I'm happy with 1080. It's a very small file, and you can hit download. And what's going to happen is it's going to start that download process. And depending on your internet, it might take a while. So it does say that you can start a new project and work on it. It won't interrupt your download. That's fine. So what I'll do is I'll download it. Kyle, if you want to show how, is yours working with the publish to
web? Absolutely. So check it out. If you're here, you can publish to web. That's magical. So if I say publish to web, then I have the option to actually have a URL created for me. Here's my title, okay, and I can call that whatever I want, Ninja at School. All right, there's the author. If I say publish link, then I'm good to go. It says publishing your design, bum, 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 bum. And once it's done publishing, you're left with a unique URL, and you can share that with people by simply copying and pasting it into a browser, and then sending that link if you wish through email or however you want to do through social, and people can see what you've created right there on the web, which is pretty great.
Yep. So that's pretty much us. We are bang on time. So thank you so much for joining with us. Don't forget to double check with all of the swag that Dom can get organized. You just have to check your email after this session and just get in touch with him. Thank you all so much. We both really hope you enjoyed that. I know Kyle and I certainly did. That was really, really good fun. And yeah, just keep being creative and keep making stuff. Kyle, have you anything to say just for before we say goodbye?
No, just that I really enjoyed this. Thanks so much, Ruth. And this is my first time doing one of these with everybody. So I hope to see many more of you at some time, maybe in person if I get over there to some schools. That'd be so great. But in the meantime, we'll continue to do things this way. And remember that you can always watch these back. That's the best thing. Okay, these are recorded. They're ready to go. So if you have any questions, you can always check back in and see what we were doing. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I hope you made some great stuff.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Oh, no.
Hey, there he is, the man himself.
I thought I'd come in and say hello, just as you were signing off.
Hey, we're just about to sign off.
Yeah, I know.
I knew you were about to sign off, and I just had to come in and do it.
All right. Well, hey, nice to see Dom. Three amigos. Here we go. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream. Thanks.
There's all sorts of sound stuff. So, Kyle, over to you.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Take care.